the alcohol, la 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 la. Just line 'em up and we will drink them all, la 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 la. But my mother always said, if you want to drink all day, you best start in the morning, son, 'cause that's the Irish way. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, and every other mother will agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, so order up around for you and me. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, and every mother must agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, so order up around for you and me, and you and me, and you and me. Let there be whiskey.
Hey everybody, welcome to Nerds with Alcohol. I'm Chris, and this is episode, oops, you know what, I just realized I didn't turn you on there. I'm Chris.
I'm Russ.
And this is episode 208.
208, back in our virtual nerd basements, guys. Welcome once
End
again.
of the year, our last show of the year.
Yeah, last show of the year. Holy crap, right? Hey, CD. I hope you had a good Christmas. So, holy shit, what a year. 2020 is going to go down in the history books.
Yeah.
That's for damn sure. And I'm hoping that 2021 is a better one for sure. I mean, some people thrived. Stella actually had a decent year. Like, she handled 20 very well. I didn't have a bad year per se, like horrible. I mean, yes, bad things happened to me, but it's not like anything was super tragic. So thankfully there's that.
Yeah.
But it still was a rough year, and I still had a tough time with a number of things.
It was definitely a rough year. I mean, like, financially and everything, I didn't have any hardships, luckily. Renee and I both made it through pretty well.
Yeah.
She was out of work for a little while, but it was during the whole stimulus thing, so that was all right.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I never actually had any issues with my job. We actually did really well this year.
Great.
Just because of the industry that we're in, it actually, for some reason, people were buying houses. So,
right.
With market rates low as they are, or interest rates as low as they were, it was a great time. I mean, we refinanced the house this summer because the interest rates were so low. Knocked 5 years off our mortgage.
That's fantastic, man. That's really great.
Yeah, knocked 5 years off our mortgage. Our bill only went up $30.
Wow.
So
that's really incredible. Holy shit. That's really, really great. That 5 years off of your mortgage and it only costs you another $30 a month.
Yeah, and that's because we went from a 30 that we had paid for 5 years on down to a 20 that so we basically knocked 5 years off is the way I look at it, because we already paid for 5. So
right. Jeez. Did you hear that? Can you hear that?
Yeah, I did hear that. Yeah.
That was Stella sneezing. Holy crap. I'm going to close the door.
So
you could hear that. That was great.
Hi.
So how was your week?
It was okay. Like I said, it was Christmas. So I had Stella's mother over, and Stella and I had her mom over, and my former roommate Amanda and coworker Amanda. I didn't want her. She was going to be spending Christmas by herself, and I was not about to have that. So she came over, and we had a nice dinner, and I cooked again, because I cooked at Thanksgiving, and I get, Chris, I tell you,
did you make your mashed potatoes that get you laid? Of
course I did. They're still leftovers. I'll probably have some more. Although we did had to throw away the pumpkin pie. Unfortunately, it started to get moldy. No, I tell you, I'm having a great time cooking for my friends. I mean, it's not something that I necessarily want to do all the time. I've been enjoying like kind of experimenting with cooking and a little bit, and it's been something that I've been kind of craving a little bit. It's like expanding my cooking repertoire, because I'm a decent cook. I have about 8 different recipes that I can really do really well, and I can tweak here and there, so I think I've talked about it. I purchased a couple of cookbooks over the last couple of months. I got the Elder Scrolls cookbook.
Yep.
And Stella brought me home the Fallout cookbook. from the Fallout franchise.
Do you have to put everything in the microwave because that way you're nuking it?
Yeah. No, it's kind of cool. It's written as if it was a cookbook made for somebody who was living in one of the
Does it got the little guy in it for all the recipes?
Yeah.
He
Yes.
does?
Yeah. He's on like
how
every
to make
page
roadkill edible.
telling you like, how tough it is, whatever. And the cool thing is like I said, it's written like you're living in a vault, and these are the things you cook for your family with the supplies that they have in the vault, right? And in the game, for those of you guys who haven't played, the vaults in Fallout are these massive underground, Fallout shelters that were built for people to live in when the nuclear war happened, and for society to survive it. And so they're stocked with hundreds of years of food and facilities for growing food and stuff like that. So it tells you how to make things using the supplies that are in the vault, but then it looks like somebody who had from outside of the vault, has lived in the wasteland, has gotten the book and made notes in it. So instead of just hamburger or ground meat, it says ground Brahmin, and in the game, a Brahmin is a two-headed cow that all they eat. And so, but just things like that. But there's a number of really kind of cool recipes in that. I'm looking forward to trying that. I also want to pick up the Dungeons and Dragons cookbook, Heroes Feast. And
I want to get that one myself, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So, but anyways, we made rat tail soup. Yeah, how to make roadkill edible. Thank you, CD. Yeah, there's even like some simpler recipes, like there is a recipe for mashed potatoes. There is a recipe for like macaroni and cheese. I make good mashed potatoes. I don't need a recipe for that, but I've been looking for a decent recipe for homemade macaroni and cheese. So that'd be cool. And I can futz with it and stuff. My mom was really thrilled when I told her that I was like experimenting with cooking, and she's it tickled her quite a bit. So yeah, we had a nice Christmas. Stella got me a Lego set. She got me a bunch of books, mostly all superhero kind of related, stuff related to things that I like. She got me the art book for the Gwent game from The Witcher 3. That's pretty cool. And she also got me a book on like the history of the competition of the early animators in the beginning of the animation industry, all the competition and the crazy things that they would compete with each other with. Because I guess in the early days of animation, it was fierce. The competition was really fierce. So, yeah, so some cool stuff, I got her a bunch of Harry Potter shit. And, he loves Harry Potter, so I bought her some Harry Potter like clothing, like 2 shirts and a sweater. Yeah. And how'd you make out? What did you do for the holiday?
For the holiday, for the most part, we just kind of hung out at home. Went and saw my dad for a little bit. I helped him out with his computer, and then
how is he doing?
He's doing okay. I think he's bored. He's been working, I think, mostly to keep himself busy.
Sure.
But he's been working in the food industry, and with all the restaurants being closed and everything like that, he's been laid off.
Yeah.
So I think he's still just kind of bored. But otherwise, I mean, health-wise, he's doing all right.
Well, good.
Then we went over to see Renee's Oma, her grandmother, and didn't stay long there. We kept our distance, kept masks on. We weren't even going to go in, but she actually invited us in, and you can't say no to her. So.
Of course not. She's an old lady.
Yeah, and she's another one that she's doing okay. She's getting better. She's had some health issues, but luckily not COVID related.
Well, that's good at least, thankfully.
So, but she's looking better, sounding better.
Well,
but yeah, that was most of our day, was just basically sitting around the house, just relaxing, playing some games, watching TV. We watched Wonder Woman 84, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that.
And then we also watched Scrooged.
Later
in the
that's
night.
Right.
It was the first time Renee had ever sane it. So
what did she think?
She loved it. She
I
thought
remember
it was,
actually. Yeah.
Yeah, she thought it was absolutely hilarious. She loved Carol Kane. as the Ghost of Christmas Present. I'm like,
She
yep,
is-
she is my favorite. She is my
she's-
favorite thing in that movie.
She really is. That, oh, bitch, hit me with the toaster.
Yep.
It's one of the best lines.
Yep.
It's one of the best lines in any movie. I laughed.
Sometimes you have to smack them in the face.
Oh man, I laughed my ass off the first time. I saw that in the theater with my mother. Actually, my mom. I think I took my mom to see it for her birthday because her birthday is yesterday. Actually, it's 2 days or 3 days after Christmas. And I think I just like when I was a kid, I'm like, come on, mom, let's go. We'll go to the movies because I think it came out in like 90 or something like that. And so we went and saw Scrooge, and I just remember laughing my fucking
88.
balls off. Huh?
88.
Oh, okay. So I just remember laughing my ass off when I went and saw that, and it just so funny, so funny. It's a classic. It's one of those ones I love to watch, every year, because that's the thing. It's one of those movies. It's really funny, but it's got a lot of heart. I mean, it's a Scrooge story. It really is. It's a redemptive kind of like, here's a guy that's kind of a prick, and it's really does. You really can feel like the feeling of Christmas at the end.
Yep.
Stella and I watched Christmas Chronicles 2. Speaking of Christmas movies, which is on Netflix. It's the one with Kurt Russell as Santa Claus, the second one. And also very cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, highly recommend it. I mean, the first one was a lot of fun. And this one also just a blast.
Well, as far as Christmas goes, we didn't really do gifts.
Yeah, you guys do Yule.
We did Yule, so I actually kind of talked about that before. Renee got me a bunch of models for Warhammer, or for Age of Sigmar, Warhammer Age of Sigmar.
Right.
I haven't actually started putting those together yet because I'm still painting the previous set of models that I have. And then she also got me this, which I did not show off last time, but
oh right, yeah, the Batman Who Laughs.
Batman Who Laughs, which I've really been wanting to read. I've read part of it on DC Universe, and didn't actually finish it, I don't believe. So I'm gonna read that. I still want to get the one for metal and heavy metal as well. So
yeah, well, heavy metal they're not done yet. It's
right. I figure
up.
when it comes out in the bound edition is when I'll get it.
It finishes up in this month actually, or January, I believe. They get the issue 7 comes out in January.
Okay. And then I also want to read the Three Jokers storyline too.
I bought it and I read it and it was good. I was expecting maybe more, but it was still good. Some really, really creative stuff, some really cool stuff, interesting stuff. It was also a black label book, so it's a little more adult, a little darker, but it is in continuity. So it's a little more like, I think there's a little bit of swearing in it, but that's not, it's not that bad, not much to it. But it was good. It was cool. One thing that I did kind of, the idea is that there are 3 Jokers and nobody knew that there are actually 3 of them. And that one of the Jokers turned these 2 other guys into Jokers as well. And personally, my problem with that is Batman didn't know that. The greatest detective in the world, and he wasn't able to tell the 3 different guys are slightly different. They looked slightly different. That's the one thing, the one issue I have with it, but otherwise it's really pretty cool. It's a really cool book. So yeah. I'm trying to think.
Yeah. Well, what are you drinking?
Oh, I am drinking. We brought this. Stella and I. We stopped off at Holiday Market, which is a kind of a gourmet market in Royal Oak, to pick up. Honestly, I needed a bunch of spices for herbs and spices for these recipes that I was making from the what's it called? The Elder Scrolls cookbook. The cool thing about this cookbook is it's got like 3 spice combinations that you put together. It's Nord spices, Stormcloak spices, and Imperial spices. So you mix a bunch of spices together to make these spice combinations. So when you're doing the recipe, it can just say, a pinch or a tablespoon, or not a tablespoon, like a teaspoon of Imperial spices, and you'll get like, cardamom and cinnamon, and actually this would be Nord, cardamom and cinnamon and mace and a couple of different other things. So I went there to get that, and I was like, I remember Holiday Market having a really good mead selection. So I picked up this stuff from
Move it over just a little. Yep, there you
I
go.
picked this up. It looks backwards to me. From Holiday Market. And it is a Slavic mead, product of Slovakia. Medovina, and it's from Apimed, established in '98. It's award winning. It's got 5 different like award stickers on the top here. You can definitely tell. It says it's dark from forest honey. It's definitely a more of a golden, like a deeper golden, like a red or orangey, more of a darker kind of color than some meads. I mean, you get some meads and they're just damn near like almost like water. So just with a slight yellow tint to it, but this stuff, not so much. I've had a few European meads that were like, I've had a Polish mead that's like brown, like a fucking, like a dark beer, man. Those are some rich meads.
There's a Polish mead that I really like. It's actually one of the closest things to Moniak I've found.
This is definitely. I have a little bit of Moniak in a bottle that I was saving, and I cracked this, and I tasted it, and you can really taste like it's almost like a pine flavor a little bit, almost like obviously like the honey that they used came from like pine needles and stuff, and it's good, but it's definitely got a much stronger flavor. You can there is a sweetness to it, obviously, because it's still a mead, but it's kind of tempered with this pine aftertaste. And like I said, Stella didn't care for it. She tasted it. I like this, but I'm definitely, like Stella was like, "Oh, that bottle is all yours," and I'm like, "All right." I'll definitely. I mean, Moniak is more my style, but this is a really nice change.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we can get Moniak again after the everything goes back to normal-ish.
That would be nice.
And we can actually cross the border over into Canada again.
Yeah, God. I just I'm like, I'm. A lot of people have been like looking forward to 21 as like, I think people are in anticipation of the pandemic being over, because no, 20 is over, so the pandemic is gonna have to be over.
Yeah,
and
it's
that's not the case, guys. They've actually, Fauci has actually said that probably the worst of the pandemic will probably be in 21. So now, granted, yes, we've got the vaccines coming, and things are changing, but we've still got a ways to go yet.
Well, first of all, we're not going to start seeing the vaccine being distributed to the general populace until spring,
right?
And at least one of them is a 2-dose thing where you have to have like I think it's 2 months between your doses,
right? Exactly.
So it's not like it's anything that's just going to go away,
right? Exactly. Yeah, we're looking at it is going to be something that we're going to be dealing with for.
They're saying at least the first half of the year.
Yeah. Now, at least by the summer, they're saying that we'll definitely be rolling out a lot more vaccines for the people, or by late spring, early summer, most everybody will be able to get their vaccines by then. And then we'll start to see a greater return to normal. But even so, it's probably not going to be, it's going to be quite a while before we're fully back to normal. Or if anything, a return to a new normal that's a little closer to it. So, but we've digressed. What are you drinking?
I am drinking a beer. It comes in this lovely can. It's actually from Bee Nectar. This is a crowler. Renee brought this home for me. This is their latest beer that they've done. Ian, who is on our Tavern Night show,
right,
did this. And what he did was he did a lot of research, I guess, into Viking alcoholic beverages, like traditional, like ancient Viking stuff. And this one's called Drangar's Delight, or Drangar's Delight.
Okay.
It's 6% ABV, it looks like. And it is a braggot, which is a grain. It's really it's a beer mead combination type of thing. It's grains and honey used as the fermentables. This one I believe is 52% grain and the rest honey, from what Renee told me. And the grains and stuff that they used were actually all grains that would have been able to be found at the time in that region. They actually took white pine branches and filtered it through those branches because that's probably what they would have used at the time to filter the mash.
Okay.
And did a lot of other things that were very traditional for this particular one. I have not tasted this yet. It is a beautiful color, though. I will say that it is a beautiful dark copper color. It is it's absolutely gorgeous.
It's a nice color. That's for sure.
It has the aroma of like a malty beer. It's definitely got just I get a lot of the aroma of the actual like grains. There's a little bit of smoke in there, because I guess the idea was that they probably would have roasted a lot of the grains by an open fire, so that'd be a little bit of a smoke. But so now I'm gonna go ahead and give this a shot. Oh wow, yeah, I'm blowing smoke out my nose right now. It's interesting. It's kind of like drinking a campfire. There's a lot of smoke in there, more than I expected. The actual hop or the actual malt flavor, the actual flavors are pretty good. The smoke's a little strong for me. I don't like overly smoky beers. That's one of the things that I actually don't really care for a lot. Take another taste here. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about that one. I mean, for what it's supposed to be, it's actually probably really good. I mean, it is an authentically done beer. For me, it's not for my taste. And yeah, Renee says she doesn't get a lot of smoke out of it. That's I'm getting almost all smoke. Especially on the exhale, it's like the smoke is actually coming out and over. Yeah, I'm not a Scotch person either. I don't like the like smoky, the peatiness in Scotch for the most part. So, yeah, it's a history lesson in a can, CD. It really is. But I mean, like I said, for what it is, I'll give it thumbs up. It was a great job of researching and figuring it out. For me, though, personally, it's not my thing. It's not my jam. So I don't know that I would order it again. But if you like that type of beer, and honestly, it's actually really kind of cool. Just the thought that went into it and the work. I'm really impressed with that. But yeah, overall, I don't care for it, but I know that there are a lot of people out there that would. And like I said, I think it's good for what it is. It's just
it's interesting that
I'm handing it off to Renee.
It's interesting for you to hear you like actually go, I'm not into this.
Yeah, it's for me personally, I would probably give it like for my personal taste, I would say probably 2.5, maybe 2.
Wow. Wow.
But that's
2?
But that's just my personal taste.
Heavens
for what it is, I would say if you like that type of beer, I would say it's probably closer to a 3.5 to 4. It's just not my thing. I really don't like those the smokiness.
Okay. I get it.
So, yeah. So, what do you want to talk about first?
Well, I think the first thing I was going to just share real quick is a little bit of some comic book news this week. They just released it's just kind of funny. They do this every couple of years. They'll be like, "Hey, guess what? Somebody's getting a new costume," and it lasts for three. It lasts for like 3 issues or whatever, and then they're done. But apparently, Spider-Man is getting a new costume, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to share it up on share the cover of the issue that's coming in. Now, it's not coming out until I believe March. So we got a few months yet before this comes out, and it's
a few months for the people to troll it and
right.
And talk about how much they hate it.
It looks like Spider-Man, but it is very, very different. Here, let me just put this up.
Share the screen here.
Yeah. Let's see.
Let's see if this actually works like it did in practice. So
now, hopefully that looks okay.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a blue and white with like an orange kind of highlight. He's also kind of got like round eyes in his in the diamond shape eye kind of shape that he normally has.
I'm gonna say I'm not a big fan.
I'm not a big fan either. I like the red and blue. I mean, I'm not opposed to Spider-Man getting another costume.
Yeah,
he has had multiple costumes. Like if you play the video games, if you play Spider-Man on PlayStation 4, which is honest to God's a absolutely fantastic game. I like burned through it in like 2.5 weeks. I couldn't stop playing it. It was great. You can collect tons of different costumes for him of all different either Spider-Man costumes that he has worn over the years, different variations, or costumes of other Spider-Men from among the multiverse. So it's great. It's great, but I'm not a big fan of this one.
I gotta agree with CD. It's white alien Spidey.
White alien Spidey. Sure. Yeah, I can see that. It's
and the head makes him look like an alien.
Sure. I'm kind of curious to see is like, I mean, it looks like it's white and gray, and yes, it's definitely white and gray. That's not just like shading and whatnot. So, and then with the blue in there, I just the
blue's like the only thing I like. I mean, I can even get behind the orange, but the white just I have a problem with the white.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if it was still red and blue with the orange, maybe, but I think the orange.
I don't think the orange would work with the red. No.
Yeah. So I mean, I maybe if they just made some minor changes to the Spider-Man costume itself, and with like maybe the higher boots or something like that, but like the Spider-Man costume for the Spider-Man, the original first costume that you have for the new video game is great. It is a variation. It's red and blue with white elements in it, and people were all like, "Is this what's up with this?" It's actually a Spider-Man from. It is a different. It's not mainstream Spider-Man. I mean, it's pretty close, but it's a slightly different Spidey. One of the various Spider-Men from the multiverse, and so it's a little different, and that's one of the reasons why. And they explain in the game. I can't remember what it is, but they explain in the game. Like I think the new costume has to do with like the technology that he's integrating into the costume, and it helps with his powers and other things.
I just realized that's covering up when you share your screen. It actually changes the size of the window, and it actually covers up the chat box.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Oh well, here we'll take it off now. I mean, this is only meant to stop for show it for a minute, but It's interesting when they do this, when they add, we have the occasional new costume for a character, but I definitely feel that this might be kind of a mistake. So my guess is it won't be around for super long. That issue comes out in March, apparently. Also, I wanted to mention this week we have a new, where is it? A new Critical Role comic book coming out from Dark Horse. Critical Role Vox Machina Origins #1, but this is Origins 3. This is the third Origins series. I'm going to share this one too. Hang on here. Let's see. We'll just
kid with a new toy.
Hush. Right. So this is the cover for Vox Machina Origins issue 1, series 3 that's coming out this week. Now I have the collected editions for the first 2, so I probably won't buy this. I'll probably wait until the collected edition comes out. But they've also talked about that there will be 2 new comics coming out this spring. One is the specific, I believe, a specific origin of the individual characters alone, and I think they'll be doing, but we'll be dealing with, instead of Vox Machina, we'll be dealing with the Mighty Nine. So Caleb and Jester are the first 2 that are
Yes. Yeah, I heard about that.
So, but they're coming out later this year. I think I actually put them on my Amazon wish list because I think they may be more of a graphic novel size kind of comic.
Well, and I saw that they're coming out with new. Speaking of Critical Role, they've got the figurines, the statues now that look fantastic. And the first 2 they're doing are Bo and Ford. And honestly, they look absolutely fantastic. But I checked out that company's website. They don't have any prices for those yet. But I started looking at some of their other stuff, and it's all like $250.
Well, it's Sideshow Collectibles.
Yeah,
Sideshow Collectibles is really.
And I'm like, those are fantastic, but no, I'm not paying that much for a statue right now. It's
right. Exactly. As much as I would love to have something like that, it's just not in my price range at the moment. But they are gorgeous. I highly recommend checking them out, guys. Go to Sideshow Collectibles and check out their website and check out some of the amazing sculptures that they do. They're just
there are some amazing beautiful stuff on there. I'm like, wow, if I had some disposable income, like if I was Bezos' kid, I could just I'd be spending a lot of money on this site.
Well, at the very least, they have some really, really beautiful stuff, but they also they span a wide range of nerdity. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, Sideshow Collectibles. So anyway, so Spider-Man and that's coming out. And
Critical Role Origin
and Critical Role.
Vox Machina Origins 3 issue 1.
That comes out this week. The Spider-Man book, the Spider-Man new costume doesn't come out until March. Other than that, I mean, in comic book news, there hasn't been a ton of stuff of late that is really, really like mind-blowing. We are wrapping up Death Metal, and it's going to be ending up. They've been doing the individual issues. There's the 7 issues of Death Metal, but then they do a lot of supplemental issues too of different.
Of course, you got to do the crossovers.
Well, it's not right. It's not like they're tie-ins. They're not crossovers so much. So like there's a Dark Knight's Death Metal: The Last 52 War of the Multiverses #1 that comes out this week, and it's kind of like issue 6.5, 6.5. And then issue 7 is like next week, I believe. So we should be seeing the end of Death Metal, and they're talking about that there will be some pretty big changes to the DC universe when this is over. So we'll see how that plays out. Let's see, we talked about Christmas. Cyberpunk 2077 was patched again. I think 2 days ago.
Did it actually come out for the PC?
Yeah,
so I know at 1.05 came out for the PlayStation and the Xbox, and they said that
06 was just recently.
Oh, okay, because they were saying 05 wasn't even going to come out that wasn't planned to come out until January, and they were saying that the PCs may not get it till January. Still.
Well, they're pushing them. They're pushing them and pushing them. So the 06 patch was released for consoles the other day. It downloaded. I have installed Cyberpunk 2077 onto I've installed all the stuff and the software onto my PlayStation 4, and it has been patched all the way to 1.06. I am probably going, once I'm finished with Vampire, which I'm in the end game of Vampire, I probably will skip over some of the other games that I've been kind of looking forward to playing and jump onto 2070.
Yeah, I got to get back to playing Cyberpunk. I've been playing a lot of MechWarrior lately instead.
Oh, hey, that's cool too. But I mean, they have fixed the patch which was causing the corruptions. The patch did fix the corruption of the save files, so that's good. And they are saying that thanks to several of these patches, that the game is much more playable. It's still buggy, it's still not perfect, but it is much more playable on the current generation consoles, to the point where you're not going to be crashing every 10 minutes. So we'll see. We'll see how my regular PlayStation.
I got friends that are way past me. I mean, they've been playing a ton. And one of my buddies, he actually called me yesterday because he had to tell me, and he sent me screenshots of the weapon that he had just gotten, because he had to talk to me about it, because he got a legendary club in the game. It's a dildo.
No,
yes, it is. And he's like, this thing does like 4,000 damage.
Well, from what I understand, there are a lot of like hidden things. Like I saw something that said how to get the Batmobile in in this in 2077, things like that. So there's a lot of hidden stuff. That was one thing I picked up. I did stop in.
It is Sir John Fallistiff.
Oh, of course.
That's the name of the
I
weapon.
am looking forward to seeing some of the stuff. I did also see that apparently on the website, on CD Projekt Red's website, they did announce that a free DLC is coming, and they're saying it's coming soon in 21. They're actually,
I saw that too.
Probably hit in early January. My guess is they had it in their chamber already, just ready to pull the trigger, and they're like, guys, we gotta fix our rep. So here we're gonna.
From what I heard, they already had this planned anyway. It's basically the same thing they did with The Witcher when they released it, Witcher 3.
Mm-hmm.
It was free. There was a free DLC that came out shortly after the game came out.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Well, it doesn't surprise me. They're gonna need to. So, I think. I'm looking forward to like I said. I've got a bunch of older games that I've been really chomping at the bit to play. I've got some games that. Like I wanted to get back into Fallout 76 now that they've patched the hell out of that game, and No Man's Sky, a bunch of different things. But honestly, I don't know. This game is really, I'm really itching to play it. So I'm going to give it a shot probably within the next day or two. And you'll get to hear finally my review of the actual.
Yeah, I got a 5-day weekend, 5 free days coming up this weekend. So I'm taking Thursday through Monday off.
Cool.
So I should get some time to play it this weekend.
That's cool. Yeah.
The event that I've been playing through in Mech Warrior is actually ends. I've almost got it completed, and it actually ends on Thursday at 7. So
okay. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm actually, like I said, I'm excited enough to jump over like I said, several games that have been sitting on my shelf for a while that I've been really looking forward to playing. So we'll see how that goes. And apparently, they are. I mean, CD Projekt Red is still dealing with a lot of fallout from this game, so to speak, and dealing with damage to their reputation. And they're doing a lot of scrambling. That's the thing, man. If I was the CEO of that company, I would seriously be reconsidering the employment of some of these people, really. the project leads, and I don't know, man. This is a big somebody bungled the hell out of this.
And there's a group of investors that are suing them.
Yeah, exactly. They're working on that. My guess is that they will probably settle out of court, but it's because they did make a ridiculous amount of money on this game. So, like I said, they sold 30, even after allotting for the fact that people were returning the game, they still sold 13 million copies. 8 million of them were pre-orders, it's holy shit. And at $60, granted it's, adjusting it for worldwide, but $60 at, what is it? At, let's see, let's just do some quick math. $60 at 13 million. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Carry to zero.
Yeah. That's $780 million. $780 million. That's just for the 13. That's for 13 million copies at $60. Now, once again, you have to adjust for international pricing and whatnot. But $780 million. That's incredible. I'm still flabbergasted at it. And that's not including, like, I mean, merchandising. Like
merchandising.
This is where the real money of the movie is made. I was at the bookstore the other day. I stopped in to visit Stella, and I saw the Cyberpunk art book, and I was like, and Stella gets a nice discount. So I picked it up, and it's really cool. It's really, really freaking cool. It's the art book. It's how they, the concept art and stuff, and I mean, I'm sure they get a piece of all of that. So they're probably have made, probably $1 billion on this game alone.
Speaking of concept art, this is something I saw today in an article that I didn't notice. Now I got to go back and watch it again. In the, I think it's the Believer episode of Mandalorian. So the one where they get the marksman guy and Bill Burr's character. And they're driving the thing in and they get attacked by those pirates. Right. In the concept art, if you look at it, in 2 of the different scenes of the concept art, they replace one of the pirates, with Poe Dameron.
Yeah, I heard something about that. Yeah, that he kind of has his own little like cameo appearance.
Yeah, and they're like, well, they know how to do fan service because they know how popular he is. I'm like, I can't stand that guy. I think Poe should have been shot.
I know. We've discussed this before about how you are very opposed to Poe, particularly in the second movie, about what he did.
Yeah. He mutinied.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
I know. He was a prick. I wanted to
I want to know.
God darn it!
Oh, did you see the picture of Mark Hamill posing outside of
Tashi Station
with a power converter in his hand?
It was fucking awesome.
But did you also know one of the things I noticed? He's wearing a Doctor Who coat.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
he's got the celery stick on it. It's a Peter Davidson coat. I'm like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So moving away from Cyberpunk and whatnot, there was I posted this on the Nerds with Alcohol show Facebook page. I came across this preview for this new show that's going to be on it's BBC America called The Watch, and it looks really fucking cool.
I did not see this. I must have. How did I miss that you posted it on there?
It says looks interesting indeed is what I posted, and it's basically, it looks like a bunch of cops in a or some sort of law enforcement in a city that is modern fantasy. I would liken it to kind of like maybe Bright, but British. It looks like there is there's a lot of computer generated kind of characters or mocap type of stuff. There's obviously like some sort of big rock creature who's one of the cops.
The dragon flying around.
Yeah, one of the characters is looks like she's been digitally made smaller and looks like maybe some kind of halfling or something. But like if you took D&D and moved it into the 20th century,
it'd be on AMC.
And yeah, it's
BBC America and stream early on AMC Plus.
Yeah, no.
Well, I unfortunately don't get either of those.
Right. Unfortunately, I don't get that. I think you can get it as a package, like you can on Amazon, you can get like Shudder and Sundance Now and IFC Films and AMC Plus. I'm not willing to honestly pay more money for another streaming service. I'm hoping that this show eventually goes to, goes to Amazon or something like that, because it looks really fucking cool.
It does. It does look very cool. It's kind of like a more modern Carnival Row is what I was saying.
Yes, that would probably be a better analogy than like the movie Bright with Will Smith. So yeah, it just looks like it's like kind of rough and tumble city watch. They're the
Mhm.
city watch in a medieval setting, and one looks kind of like an elf, and the other looks like kind of like maybe a like I said, like a halfling, it's very believable though. I mean, it looks like this very kind of believable uh, kind of special effects. There's the danger of using digital special effects that can be a little, that comes off kind of bad. But I mean, hopefully it'll go to like Netflix or something. I mean, in all honesty,
With those,
Walking Dead,
I'm gonna guess it's probably gonna wind up on Prime. That's
or
where
maybe Prime.
I think that's where it'll wind up.
But that's the thing.
Or actually,
Walking Dead is
depending.
on AMC,
And Doctor Who's on HBO Max, so
yeah, and The Walking Dead is on AMC, and that's on Netflix. So it might depend on the show itself. So we'll see.
Well, one of the ones that I posted on the Facebook page that I'm looking forward to is also on another channel that I don't get. It's the new sci-fi show coming out, Resident Alien, with Alan Tudyk playing an alien posing as a small town doctor. And there's a murder, and they call him in, and he's like, "What?" Because he doesn't actually know anything really about humans.
Yeah, no, they're calling it a dramedy, but it really kind of, because apparently it's got a lot of heart and everything, but it's also got a lot of, and there is some serious moments and stuff, but it is also very kind of funny too. I mean, it's kind of hard to come up with, for me to picture, Alan Tudyk in anything that doesn't at least have some comedic kind of stuff in it. He was in that remake of V early on. He was in the very first episode or two, and then his character was killed off, and he wasn't funny. There was a very serious kind of part in that.
Yeah, he was. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That looks like it could be quite funny.
If it's on Sci-Fi, it's probably going to be on the Peacock, because NBC owns.
Yeah, that's true.
And so all of there's a bunch of sci-fi shows on the Peacock now. It also depends. Eureka is a sci-fi show. It's on Prime. I think Eureka might have been.
Eureka's also on. Was it Eureka, Warehouse 13, and something else are on. I don't remember which one it is, but it's on one of the streaming.
They're probably on. I know Eureka's on Prime. It's probably on the Peacock as well.
Yeah, it might be Peacock. That might be where it was.
And like I said, I mean, if you're not paying for the Peacock,
I am paying for the Peacock.
I'm paying for it too. But
I paid for it so I could watch Brave New World, which was actually pretty damn good.
Right. If you do pay for it, it's only like $5 right now.
Yeah,
and that's pretty good. Actually, I'm not paying for it. I get it free through Infinity. So
yeah,
kind of cool.
Yeah, see, I don't have Xfinity, so
yeah, Xfinity. So yeah, the new show with Tudyk, it looks really great. I probably will check it out as well. I'm highly entertained by everything that he does. The guy is amazingly talented. So
but also, this is another thing I posted when I saw the article, but I've got it on the list of things to talk about tonight. Netflix is actually moving up the release date of Cobra Kai season 3.
Yeah,
by a week.
Really looking forward to that. I haven't watched any of them yet, but I did watch. Josh Gad does this thing on YouTube where it's called Reunited, where he reunites casts, and he's done some really great ones. He's got some huge stars. He reunited the cast of Ferris Bueller. He reunited the cast of Lord of the Rings. He reunited the cast of Back to the Future. I mean, he's done a bunch of Goonies. He also reunited just recently Wayne's World, which was really fun. But he also just recently reunited the cast of Karate Kid, and I mean, it was really cool. And I've been meaning to watch Karate Kid, particularly since
Cobra Kai,
particularly since it came back to Netflix. But I have been trying to finish the couple of shows that I've been finishing. Like I'm almost done with The Office, and I really kind of wanted to finish The Office before it leaves Netflix, even though I have the Peacock there, which is going to. But I think that's the next show I'm gonna binge when I'm not watching like the Arrowverse.
Yeah, and it's quick binge. I mean, it's only 2 seasons of like 10 episodes.
Well,
So
three now.
well,
As of
3
the
now,
first,
yeah.
so.
But it's actually I'm impressed with how good that show is. I really like the show.
Yeah, I saw a review. Somebody had did a review of the third season, saying, it's not. Yeah, maybe they're stretching, and it's not quite as good as the first two, but you'll still probably be entertained by it. So,
I mean, it's a lot of teenage angst because it's about the kids that are at the 2 different dojos.
right. I've still heard that it's amazing, though. I've
Yeah.
heard that it's a fantastic show, and one of my friends described it as downright Shakespearean. So I was like, wow,
I really enjoy it. I mean, and I can see the Shakespearean reference just because of the fights between the two clans type of thing.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to that one too. I had almost forgotten that was.
Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to this because the way they ended season 2 was a cliffhanger. So
right, exactly. Speaking of cliffhangers, on the day after Christmas, Hulu released the current 9th season of Letterkenny.
Yep.
And
how are you now?
Fine, you?
Good, and you?
You're good, and you? Yeah, it's good, and you. One of my boss at
how's your beer?
My boss at the parade company actually posted, if you don't say "to be fair" in a British accent every time I do, we can't be friends. And or he said, like, if you do that, we're definitely friends, or something like that. And I just responded with, so how are you now?
Well, every time someone says "to be fair," Renee and I both start going, "To be fair, to be fair, to be fair."
You have to. I'm just glad I introduced the show to you guys. So you and I were talking a little bit about it before the show. We don't want to go into too many spoilers because it's brand new, and I'm sure that a lot of people are still, maybe haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
Yes, CD, it's only on Hulu.
Yeah. But it is Canadian television, some of the best Canadian television you can ever see. I did see on Amazon.
Well, it and Schitt's Creek are both Canadian shows.
Yeah.
Schitt's Creek is another one. That's the one that Renee and I are binging right now. We just finished season 4 and started season 5.
Yeah, considering a show that it is a show that also got a lot. Schitt's Creek specifically got a lot of attention from the Emmys.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times Canadian shows that premiere on Canadian television. I think Schitt's Creek is produced in Canada and produced by Canadian production, but it was on like one of the bigger streaming services or something, wasn't it? Was it on Hulu or was it NBC, or I can't remember what it was.
I don't know where it was. I mean, it's on Netflix right now.
Right.
But yeah, it just every time it comes up, it's a pop original is what it shows.
That's what it is. And but Canadian TV often is kind of overlooked by like the Emmys and stuff like that. There's a lot of great stuff. In fact, one of the characters on Letterkenny, Mrs. McMurray, is on that show Wynonna Earp. She's the lead character on Wynonna Earp, which is considered like a very popular Canadian show.
Well, Gail from Letterkenny has made a couple of appearances on Schitt's Creek.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. That's funny. They've actually, this season, it seemed to me they definitely worked a little bit more with the expanded cast. We saw more stuff with Gail. We saw more stuff with Dixon. We saw more stuff with Bonnie McMurray.
Bonnie McMurray.
Oh, she's so cute. So it's interesting, the dynamic. It almost seems like because the show has gotten so popular that the seasons are a lot shorter, because some of these actors are probably busy doing other things now because their star has risen. I wouldn't be surprised if Kiso and and the rest of the cast are now are being called for more stuff, or working on more, even during the pandemic, are being called to work on more things. It looks like the majority of this current season was filmed during the winter of last year, so it was probably still at the very beginnings of the pandemic, before things were, everybody was freaking out and everybody was scared to get close to each other. It's funny.
I think this is one of their poorer seasons. I still enjoyed it, but I don't think this was one of the top seasons. I wouldn't even put this in the top 5 for seasons. The last couple of episodes were really solid, but every other episode I thought was just kind of meh.
Well, yeah, there were a lot of really simple episodes. There was also no holiday themed episode. So there wasn't a Valentine's Day show or Christmas show or Halloween show. It seemed to be in previous seasons they'd have like one episode that specifically was themed around one of the holidays. But they did move the story along though too.
I'm looking at what's his name? Wayne, Jared Keeso.
Jared Keeso.
Yeah, he's actually hasn't done anything since Letterkenny. Letterkenny is the latest thing. Well, he did one movie, I guess, The Death and Life of John F. Donovan. But he's got, I didn't know, he was in Godzilla in 2014.
Yeah, he's like one of the soldiers.
Yeah, he's the jump master. He's in Elysium. He was in the TV show Falling Skies for 2 episodes. So I've probably seen him in that because I love that show.
I believe that was Canadian produced too.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
That was a good show. That was on TNT.
Yep, I remember that.
And now I just found it on one of the streaming services, and I'm like, oh, sweet, I can watch the last season because I cut the cord before the last season came out.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so let's see, Michelle Milet. Has she done anything else? She's got a couple of things coming out, or came out this year.
And who is Michelle? She?
Oh, it's a video game. That's Katie.
Is that Katie?
Yeah, she's got a video game actually. Dr. Amy Tennant in the Complex and the Complex Lockdown.
I actually saw the stand-up for Squirrely Dan. He's actually a stand-up comedian as well. And he is
K. Trevor Wilson.
He's got a really K. Trevor Wilson. He's got a really great stand-up. He's really funny.
He's also in the TV series Bigfoot from 2019.
Okay.
He is Bigfoot.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
So I also did see, I checked out on Amazon, you can buy a set of the show seasons 1 through 8 on DVD.
He was on Goosebumps back in the 90s.
K. Trevor Wilson?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
First teen and kid number 1.
Well, like I said, these people have, a lot of the people on this show have some chops. They've been working for quite a long time. Camilla Kowal is Bonnie McMurray. She hasn't done much. She's been working on Letterkenny. Mm-hmm. I mean, my bet is that they got together and filmed all 7 of those episodes in about a month.
Well, that was one of the things Renee and I talked about. We're like, she's like, is it just me or does it feel like they filmed all of these episodes in one weekend? And I'm like, yeah, it may have been longer than that, but yeah, I get what you're saying. It feels like they filmed all of these episodes like boom, 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 and knocked them out within.
I'm sure they did.
Within a couple of weeks.
It was probably about a month, and they probably had a pretty severe shooting schedule. They probably worked pretty hard on it, and but yeah,
Scorched Earth.
Man, that was some funny shit. Yeah, I mean, I like the episode where she goes on 3 dates in a day, and she's like, nobody is dateable in this town, and they're all like, but I was like, nobody is dateable in this town, but I'm nobody dateable. But yeah, the guy who plays McMurray, Dan Petranovic, he's done a lot of stuff too. He was born in 81. He's done a lot of stuff. I mean,
Renee said that
almost all of these actors are pretty prominent Canadian actors.
Well, Renee said that Jared Keeso, she saw an interview with him, and that he really tones down his Canadian accent for the show because she's like, he is like uber Canadian. He like.
Yeah, and I it always cracks me up. I love the fact that it is it takes place in Ontario, essentially, in rural Ontario, when they talk about going to the States, they talk about going to Michigan.
Yeah.
You know, because when she's dating Dirks in the previous season, they go to
he's from Michigan.
He's from Michigan. And we talk about going to the States. Looks like McMurray was also on an episode of Goosebumps.
Oh yeah.
So it must have been filmed in Canada. So yeah, I mean, Animorphs. I mean, many of these films, many of these things that they worked on were either Canadian productions or they were filmed in Vancouver, because there is so much filming that goes on in Vancouver. I wouldn't be surprised if some of these guys were. Oh, he was in Suicide Squad. He played Anvil. He was uncredited though.
Okay, so I'm looking to see. All right, so when they talk about going to the city, I was always guessing it was Toronto. It's actually probably Ottawa. Because of where Letterkenny actually is in Ontario. I just looked it up, and it's actually listed as a ghost town.
Oh yeah,
the Canadian Ontario ghost towns, but they're also real close to the border, which is why they go ice fishing in Quebec.
Yes, in Quebec.
Yeah, you gotta love ice fishing in Quebec. Who doesn't love ice fishing in Quebec? The way each one of them always says it differently.
Yeah. I love that. I mean, the where they talk about Wayne's ex-girlfriend coming back from being abroad for a while.
Oh,
now
Angie?
She's got a slight accent now.
Yeah.
And they're talking about how terrible it is.
Yeah.
You're gonna go and watch the telly? You're gonna go to the pub and stand in a queue for a pint? You know. And they're just like, oh, what's the worst than that? Dead puppy, stillborn puppies, and nothing else.
Yeah.
I think the dialogue is really some of the best.
That's what makes that show. It's a dialogue-driven show. It's the quick, snappy dialogue.
And that's why you have to turn on the closed captioning when you're watching the show, because you're like, it's so rapid fire.
Well, Renee and I actually introduced Alexandra to it on Saturday, because she came over to drop off some Christmas gifts.
Right.
And oh shit, I didn't grab mine. I was going to show that off. But she was here, and we're like, she hadn't watched any of the show. And we're like, all right, well, we'll put it on. Should we start at the beginning? And she's like, no, just put it on, whatever. So we watched like the next episode, and we're like, you know what? Let's go back to the beginning. So we actually watched like the first 2 episodes with her.
It's definitely a show that you kind of got to start at the beginning to really truly get it.
Gail, I think the toilet's allergic to fudge. Bring a plunger.
It's yes. It's like I told you to flush as you were going. Yeah, it's and the funny thing is granted the majority of people that I've introduced that show to have liked it, but it is definitely a specific kind of humor that some people just kind of are like, it's not my speed, because there is a good portion of it is kind of toilet humor,
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is they take that toilet humor and they make it, they do some really smart stuff with it. They're like, it still blows my mind how they can have a conversation about, I don't know, about like, oh man, there's just so many things. They have a conversation about in one of the episodes about like seeing a woman that they know to have had many, many children.
Oh, yes.
And that I heard a whistle when she was walking, and they're like, and you're like, oh my God, there's no fucking way they're going to talk about this. But they do.
And they combine it. It's just, well, it's the same way, like there's one where they're sitting around talking about how people sound in pornos. Yeah. Oh man, that was so funny. Yeah, because it was like Squirrely Dan was watching a porn. This is in the previous season, I think, or the season first
before.
Season.
Huh?
It's in the first season, I think.
Was it in the first? Yeah. No, I mean, because it was.
It's first or second season, because it was when Renee and I went back and started watching from the beginning again.
But they also did this one when Wayne was seeing the girl from Quebec, which is one of the more recent seasons, and they're talking about like the things that how certain phrases sound, and you have to put them in certain contexts.
Oh yeah, this one was just the yes, 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 yes.
That was different. Yeah, that was early on. But the talking about I like how they revisit things too. Like in the first season, Squirrely Dan and Derry are talking about blowing schneef off of where you've done it, which is coke, really. Doing coke. And then in this season they go back to it. They did it again about all the places they've done schneef. And I was just like, wow, that's a serious callback, man. That's really great. And they've done it many times, I thought the episode with the beer league, the hockey beer league, with the coach getting drunk and then talking about his sexual exploits with his dead wife. Oh my god! And just making Riley and Jonesy completely uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, man, if this is all we got to put up with, though, it's okay.
Yeah,
If that's the worst of it.
Every program's got its problems, and if this is the worst of it. It was nice to see Tanis at the end of the season again too. She showed up. That's the thing. They'll bring, you got to know. They're like, oh, here's a great moment for this character. Hey, call up so-and-so. We need to bring them back for just an episode, And I liked Tanis. I mean, after they kind of dealt with her a little bit and turned her into not just this this horrible bitch, and you understand her a little bit more. She was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
she was fucking hot too. That's the other thing too, man. They get some beautiful girls on this. Just some amazing women on that show, and they're not all just eye candy either. They're all bringing the comedy. I mean, Rosie's really funny. Of course,
Katie
is hilarious.
Bonnie is really grown as a character on the show, and I think that's one of the things I really like is that they brought her in more.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, it's why they were dealing with more she was more than just one of the waitress in the background or
at the beginning sister. She was working at the general store at the beginning because she just got back from college.
Right. And McMurray's and she's McMurray's little sister.
Yeah.
So and I love that Gail and the auctioneer Dixon got together. And just go on and on about the size of his penis and all that. It's just Jesus Christ. You take a roll of paper towel and you take off all the paper towel and there's just the tube in the middle. Yeah. Well, double it. And you're like, oh. And then, and Wayne's like, well, he's pretty near 7 feet tall, I mean. Oh, guys, if you guys aren't watching Letterkenny,
you should be.
You should be. You're really missing out. The show is fantastic. And I really, really recommend it. I have been talking about it for a long time. I mean, I think I put it on my Amazon wish list, the 1 through 8, season 1 through 8 kind of thing. It did end again on a bit of a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Not like oh my God, what's going to happen next? It's more like, well, how's that conversation going to end?
Yeah. Well, just how's this all going to end? Because there's a lot of things there's a lot of ways it could go.
Yeah, my guess is that they filmed this season. They were like, let's put out these 7 episodes. We'll end it on a cliffhanger, and then, in a couple months we'll put out another 7 episodes or something like that.
Well, the thing is that every one of the seasons is only 6 or 7 episodes.
Right.
So,
exactly.
And that was the thing. We hit the 7th episode and it ended, and I'm like, all right, that's it for the season. And Renee was like, what? And I'm like, yeah, it's only 7 episodes. She's like, oh shit, I forgot.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it sucks, but that's the way they're doing it, and that's the way a lot of shows are doing it these days. So,
well, I was hearing. Speaking of Amazon and shows like that we were talking about earlier, I was reading an article about the Middle Earth show that Amazon's producing.
Yeah.
And what it's going to be, and they still haven't really said what time frame it's going to be in. Things like that. They've already done most of the principal photography for most of the filming for seasons 1 and 2, because it already has been renewed for a 2nd season.
Wow.
And I guess Amazon, to get the rights, had to sign a 5-season commitment
Wow, no shit.
But it doesn't mean that they're going to produce all 5 seasons. It just means that they.
Well, if they sign that commitment, though, they still got to pay for it. So
Yeah,
if
they still have
don't,
to pay. They actually pay something out if they don't do it. But
right.
they're just saying it's probably going to be during the second age because it's the most open. It gives them the most room to work with because they're not allowed to fuck with any of the continuity.
That makes sense.
Or anything that was actually written. And they also can't go back. I guess they were saying they were going to go way back even farther, but now they're saying they're going to go back to, is it Numenor, the island that disappears. But they're talking about that's what one of the maps they put, or one of the maps they showed in like production material shows Numenor on a map. So they're saying they think that that's why it's going to be in the second age and all this. Originally they were saying it was going to be young Aragorn.
I'd watch that too.
But they're saying they're going back. Yeah, they're actually going back to like his ancestors is what they're saying now. Is those people whose names I'm forgetting, but anyway, yeah. So they're filming that, and I'm looking forward to that one too. I think that's going to be a good show, provided they don't do the concern is that they're going to do what Peter Jackson did in The Hobbit and put too much other crap in it.
Right.
But they're also saying that the first season is like set to be like 20 episodes. And they're like, wait, 20 episodes of an hour-long show? That's
a lot. That's a lot. That's way more than what they did for Game of Thrones. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're saying that, usually it's like 10. I'm like, they could split that up into 2 seasons easily.
Oh, easily.
And then they'd have 3 seasons worth of material.
Hey man, I'm down. Let's do it. I'm
There's no release date yet. They're expecting it's probably going to be late next year, early 2022 before it's out. Probably. Because it's going to have a lot of post-production work because of
all the special effects, the creatures and whatnot. Yeah. Like I said, I mean, as soon as I heard, Lord of the Rings TV show, fuck me, I am in, man. Let's do this, dude. That's just going to be amazing.
And they did go back to New Zealand to film.
Why wouldn't they? I mean, some of the stuff is still there. I mean, Hobbiton is still there, thankfully. I mean, why not just reuse what's already been kind of created? And it's proven to be the perfect, setting, the perfect environment for something of this magnitude.
Yeah, they've got forests, they've got mountains, they've got coasts. Yeah, I mean, it's
right. And it's not so huge that driving to those places to do those shooting is like 8 hours of driving. I mean, it's everything is relatively close.
Yep. So also, and as Renee said, and COVID free.
Right. Exactly.
Currently,
New Zealand is completely COVID free.
So the other thing though that happened over the weekend, I want to kind of move along because we're already at an hour and 15 almost.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman 1984 came out on Christmas Day, both in the theaters and on HBO Max.
Now it made like a roughly 85 million worldwide, which you wouldn't think would, I mean, that would be a decent opening weekend if it was just in the States. If it wasn't, COVID situation, it'd probably be more like 3 times that amount worldwide, at least. But because of COVID and because a lot of theaters are closed, it only did, 85 million. Still pretty good though. And apparently it's good enough that it's warranted a sequel already has been greenlit.
Yeah, Wonder Woman 3 has been greenlit. Patty Jenkins is going to direct again. They're saying there's no time frame on it. They're saying with her working on Rogue One as well, it's probably going to delay the Wonder Woman. So it'll probably be at least 2022 before they really even start working on it.
Right. So, but it has been greenlit, and they are kind of moving forward relatively quickly compared to like some of these other films. what did you? I mean, we're all going to know that I'm probably, most people that listen to the show are going to realize that I'm probably going to have a pretty soft opinion of it. What did you think?
I thought it was I didn't think it was all that great. I mean, it was okay, but I really felt that it wasn't I don't think it was a good movie, and I can suspend disbelief for certain things, but the ending caused me to really push that that whole suspension of disbelief.
Okay. I can understand where you're coming from. I personally enjoyed the film. I didn't think it was as good as the first one, obviously, but also that's a tough act to follow. Going up against the first Wonder Woman movie. Good Lord, I mean that would have been really tough. It was a hell of a movie. Honestly, in my opinion, Wonder Woman was one of the best movies that Warner Brothers has produced under the DC cinematic universe. It was absolutely fantastic. 1984, on the other hand, not as good. Still entertaining. I can understand the problems that people are having with it, though. I did enjoy some of the nostalgia, but there was a part of me that felt like maybe they didn't push the nostalgia enough. I felt that there were flavors and they touched on the 80s, but they didn't push it as much as I would have liked. Sure, some of the clothing styles and stuff like that, but I don't know. I just would have liked to have seen more examples of what I would say is iconic 80s.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
It's getting a lot of criticism.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. It's getting a ton of criticism.
And it's actually I saw one thing where someone said it was the most racist movie they've seen in a long time. Yeah.
Why?
Because of the racial portrayals in it. That it's the Middle Eastern guy that wants the wall built around his empire, the abusive husband father that they show is black, and it's the white saviors that come through. That the best person in this is the best male figure in this entire movie is the white guy from the early 1900s.
Okay. I don't know if I mean in the mid 80s, in a Arab character would have been, I mean that would have been a little more, I don't know. I mean, it was kind of racist, I suppose, but it wouldn't have been unexpected that an Arab like oil baron in that time period would have been all about reclaiming his land.
That one I didn't have as big of an issue with, as I understand the whole portrayal of showing it being a black man who is the abusive one when they're showing those scenes. Because there were plenty of white men that were abusive as hell too.
Sure. I don't know. I'm not gonna. I don't think I can get on board with it being racist. It being a racist film. I think it was entertaining. I really liked Kristen Wiig as Barbara Minerva. I thought
she was good.
She was fun. She wasn't. One of the criticisms I did hear about her was that, well, how come she's not being as funny as she usually is? What? I mean, because the character is supposed to be kind of humorous, but she's not. It's not necessarily a comedic role. This is a woman with some deep-seated issues, rightfully so. I mean, she was treated fairly shittily for no real reason, and it was. And I thought she did a great job. She's like 40. She's like my age. She's like 46, 47. She did a great job with the physical stuff. I didn't
realize she was that old.
Yeah, I liked the transformation that she went through, and I mean, suddenly like dealing with how her personality was changing and whatnot. I liked Pedro Pascal. I think he made a good sympathetic villain. I like the fact that none of the villains were killed. You know, it was one of those things that it bothers me about it. It was kind of on this, they were on this kind of kick for a long time that they would kill off the villain at some point. In Spider-Man, they killed the Green Goblin. They killed Doc Ock. They killed Venom. They killed, actually Sandman didn't die, but a number of the characters were killed in a lot of the earlier. And, I mean,
they didn't kill Vulture.
No, they didn't. But those are later movies, you know.
Mhm.
The Joker, I mean, hell, Jack Nicholson's Joker was killed in the 88 Batman movie. That drove me crazy. That really, I mean, and to this day still bothers me. Because, I mean, that's the Joker. How can you kill Batman's biggest villain, you know?
Well, and that's one of the things in the Christopher Nolan ones, Joker tries to get Batman to kill him.
Right. You know, and so like I did like the fact that in the Christopher Nolan ones, there's not as many deaths. I mean, yes, Ra's al Ghul dies, but Ra's al Ghul can be resurrected. You know, I mean, that's part of his character, part of the lore about Ra's al Ghul. So, I gave Wonder Woman like a BB plus. It's got some story issues. It is not a perfect movie. But it is still entertaining. It's still, I think it's, people were calling it the kind of movie we need right now. It has a lot of hope. I think Gal Gadot is really a fantastic Wonder Woman. I think she's doing a great job.
I think she's good. Yeah.
And yeah, it definitely was problematic. I mean, there were definitely some big problems that I would love to see addressed in the sequel. You know, like let's get away from, you know, like some people have talked about how Margot Robbie had better chemistry with her egg sandwich in Birds of Prey than Gal Gadot did with Chris Pine. Now I disagree. I thought she and Chris Pine had great chemistry. You could see it in the first movie, but I think they need to get away from the Chris Pine, from the Steve Trevor character, and she needs to move on and deal with other things. I think they shouldn't even deal with her romantic life at all.
I think that the movie could have been a half an hour shorter.
Actually, I've heard some people had said that.
That whole scene in the jet flying through the fireworks and stuff, that could have been cut. Fuck that. There was no reason for that. That was stupid. It didn't build their relationship. They already had a relationship. It's not like, you know, that was them falling in love. It was just them flying through the fireworks. And they could have really cut down her whole learning to fly thing. That was too long.
Well, I'd heard some people talk about the fact that one of the problems that they had with that was, well, she never flew in her other appearances in the DC Universe movies, in BVS or the Justice League movies. She didn't fly. So some people were like, well, how does that play out? And then I heard some people go, well, maybe you could kind of see it as she didn't have the opportunity to fly. We didn't see her have used the opportunity to fly. Personally, there were other people that also argued, you know, that her lasso had become this Deus Ex Machina that could do anything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well that yes, but her lasso does have a lot of abilities in the comic books. She has always used her lasso for a lot of things. And so I didn't really have a big problem with that either. I thought I kind of liked the visual of her like grabbing the lightning and grabbing the planes and using it to kind of propel herself forward. So I thought that was kind of neat too. I mean, it is a superhero movie. There are certain things that, yeah, you do have to suspend your disbelief. You know, if you're going to watch a movie where you know, people are flying around and lifting cars and throwing tanks around.
And I'm fine with that. I can suspend disbelief for that. But like Renee, I don't have that much hope in humanity.
That was the tough part about it. Was believing that all of these people around the world would just, you know, divest themselves of their wishes. As much as I want to have hope that that humanity would do stuff like that, yeah, it is a tough thing. I did feel like they did capture the like kind of consumer kind of mentality and the greed of the mid 80s. You know,
Yeah,
that
they
was
definitely did.
very, very evident. The whole Cold War thing was very realistic. Having lived through that era and remembering it vividly, I was really, really entertained by that. I thought that was really, really cool. But I would have liked to have seen, I don't know, I just would have felt like I would have liked to have seen more people dressing in evidently very stylistic 80s wear.
Yeah.
Things like that, you know. I like the fact that you saw people breakdancing.
Yes, and what the whole thing with Steve Trevor, and well, first of all, too, that he was in a different body. That wasn't what he looked like through the entire movie. I mean, that was just for us.
That was her. That was Diana basically kind of seeing beyond that, the fact that he was in another body, and that was her perception.
But him coming out and trying on all the clothes, which they showed in the preview, was probably the funniest part of the entire movie. It was probably one of the most entertaining.
I'd say that was pretty.
And the whole thing with him just being obsessed with the fanny pack.
Yeah, that had its moments there too.
Parachute pants. Does everyone parachute there?
That was fucked up. I would never wear this. I look like a pirate. And then you see the dude, who was in the body at the end, the real guy. He's like, hey, yeah, my friends make fun of me for this outfit, but it works, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I think it would be kind of cool to see, like, maybe see him return. That actor. We've seen that actor in other things before. I can't remember. He's kind of that one of those that guy from that thing,
Yeah, that thing I saw once.
Mm-hmm. So overall, Wonder Woman. I'll give it a solid BB plus.
I'd say probably a CC minus for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I'm much more forgiving than you are when it comes to these movies. So, I enjoyed it. But I do definitely understand the problems that a lot of people are having with this film. So hopefully, and that's the thing, a lot of times a second movie in a trilogy is like the weaker of the three.
Yeah. So. The end credit scene.
Oh my God.
That was awesome.
Now that was awesome. That was awesome. I have to say that was easily one of the. That's not how electricity works. Thanks. I do have to say that I think that was one of the best like mid-credit scenes I've ever seen. That was right up there with the Stan Lee cameo. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so it's this guy, Christopher Polaha.
Pardon me?
Christopher Polaha, I believe, is the guy whose body he went into.
Oh, okay.
It's he's just credited as Handsome Man. He was in Jurassic World Dominion. I'm just looking at his credits right now, just seeing. I saw him in Baller, or he was in Ballers one episode. He's in the Get Shorty TV show, Lethal Weapon TV show, Castle TV show.
Okay, so yeah, he's a handsome guy, kind of character actor, been in a bunch of shit.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he's been in a bunch of TV shows.
Christopher Polaha, yeah, I see it. Yeah, okay, yeah, just.
He was in True Calling way back in the day.
Oh, True Calling, sure, I remember that show.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was in the Birds of Prey show. He was Darkstrike.
Okay. Been a while.
And his first role was on Angel.
Ah, no shit.
Yeah, he was Dylan. In the episode Billy.
Yeah, so yeah, he's one of those actors that's kind of like, hey, I'm Mr. Handsome Guy, and I'm going to be in your show, and just play some random handsome guy. Yeah, CSI Miami, Bones, just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that, and with it being about an hour and a half in now, I think we need to do a quick say goodbye to 2020.
say we need to do more than just say goodbye. We need to say fuck you for 2020.
Yeah, 2020 is going to go down in the history books as,
Oh, it definitely will.
As a year to look back on. And those of us that lived through it are going to be talking about it. It's like, oh, remember 2020?
It is going to be one of those years where we're like, I mean, people are going to be like, what's the worst year of your life? Oh, probably 2020. Yeah. 2020. What, not, 9/11, not 01? You're not going to be, no, man. 2020. That was the worst. I mean, they're going to be, I think, and it wasn't just because of COVID. There was so many, I think even if you were to take COVID out of the picture completely, I think we would still see 2020 as a pretty negative year. I mean, it was the year, I mean, negative in the fact that we had a lot of reactions to negative things. I mean, nobody would ever say that the extra attention that Black Lives Matter has gotten this year would be a negative thing,
Right.
but it was the results of negative things happening.
Yeah, I think it's something that's positive that's coming out of something that was negative.
Exactly.
That is, I think that it's something that's been needed for a really long time, and it finally hit that point to where people said, hey, things need to change.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
they're right. Things need to change.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that need to change in this country, but that's just one of them.
Right.
It's exactly. A big one, but it's just one of many things that need to change in this country.
I mean, besides, beyond that, I mean, we've seen, it was also Ghislaine Maxwell was arrested. I mean, didn't what's his name? Didn't he get arrested and was killed or killed himself in prison or
Epstein?
Killed himself? Epstein. Was that this year or was that 19?
I think that was early on this year.
Yeah, I think it might have been early on. So, and quote unquote killed himself.
Yeah. He was killed.
I agree, CD. Good riddance for sure. You've got, of course, we have the election too.
He was apprehended in July of 2019.
Okay.
And he died in August 2019, so it was last year.
But then his accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, was arrested and is now awaiting trial. Actually, she was making a bid to fork over $28.5 million for bail so she could get out of prison, and they said no. The judge said no to $28.5 million that would have gone into government coffers.
If she gives $28.5 million to Trump, he'll pardon her. There's actually an investigation going on about people paying for pardons.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's the other thing. The election was such a dumpster fire and is still being there's such a mess with the election and everything that is another thing that people are going to remember this year.
This election. The lame duck presidency afterwards.
Right. And it's not so much the election itself. The election was amazing because it was the highest voter turnout in recorded history.
Yep.
Apparently. The highest voter turnout we've had. I mean, they've been talking about for decades that the population has not been voting. People haven't been given a shit. They haven't been voting as much. We had something like 25% of the population were voting. Now it was immense. Almost everybody turned out to fucking vote this year. So that in itself, if you can credit Donald Trump for anything, it's the fact that he made it so people either wanted to keep him in or to get him out.
Yep.
To get that guy.
Well, and like CD just said, I hope they have to literally drag him out of the front door of the White House. I'm like, yeah, I'd pay to see that.
I would too. I don't think that'll happen. I think he won't allow himself to look like a fool. He is already, not if he can avoid it, he's not going to be like.
Yeah, as Renee just said, 2020, the year that we almost went to civil war.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's still kind of, people are still worried. Apparently one of the hotels that the Proud Boys tend to go to a lot in DC is closing the weekend of the 6th because that's the day that they officially count the electoral votes and stuff like that. But that's the day. There was they were trying to do another end run to have Mike Pence be the guy that decides that which votes are counted and which votes are not. And that was thrown out as well. It was another like court case or whatever, because they're just trying everything they possibly can. I will be very glad to see 2020 go. I think one of my favorite commercials that I've ever seen, one of the, at least for the last few years, is the Match.com commercial where Lucifer matches with 20.
It's Satan in 2020. Yeah.
Satan in 2020. Holy shit, that's hilarious. Because and the whole time through the episode, like they're stealing the toilet paper and
yeah, that's the other thing. 2020, the year that we find out why there were seashells in Demolition Man.
Exactly. So anyway, you know what? I'm gonna pour a little bit of a drink. We're gonna have a toast here, because
I got a little bit left here in my glass. So.
We're gonna say goodbye and fuck off.
You. Yeah, fuck you. I thought 2016 was bad. 2016, I sold the fuck off when it went from 2016 to 2017. I had a big fuck you New Year's Eve party.
I remember,
and that 2016 had nothing on 2020.
No, not even a little bit. I mean, 2016 was Obama's last year, and we saw Donald Trump go into office. 2016 was when we started this podcast.
Yep.
And
we had so many celebrity deaths, some like big ones, like that was
Bowie,
Prince, Bowie.
Yep. Lemmy died right before
Alan Rickman died that year.
Right. It was a rough year, and holy crap, this topped it.
2020, why automatic doors became commonplace in Star Trek.
And people started walking into them, I mean, I'm like trying to think, like, let me just real quick, celebrity deaths 2020. Let's see here.
There were a few. Quite a few.
Just trying to think. Chadwick Boseman was probably one of the bigger ones. Kirk Douglas, Kobe Bryant.
That was tragic. Kobe Bryant and his daughter. That was really tragic.
Yeah, that was those were some of the really big ones. Terry Jones from Monty Python.
2020, the year Hugs died.
Rocky Johnson, Dwayne Johnson's father. Neil Peart.
Yep. So there'll never be another Rush album.
No. I'm like looking up ones that are a little more kind of an Australian actor, model musician Harry Haynes, who starred in American Horror Story in the OA. He died at 27. I'm just trying to like go through a few ones that, like I said, are particularly Kirk Douglas. Dieter Laser, he was a German actor. He was the doctor in The Human Centipede, apparently.
Never saw it. Never wanted to.
Yeah.
Carl Reiner.
Carl Reiner. Yep. Kenny Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. I forgot about Kenny Rogers. Max von Sydow. Actor Max von Sydow.
Is Sydow or Sydow?
Sydow, I believe. James Lipton from Inside the Actors Studio. Some of these that are listed are just kind of like, okay, nobody's going to know who this guy is. A racing guy. Gods Above. Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Almost forgot about Mr. Connery. Bill Withers. Yeah.
Who was it? There was somebody right after Connery too, wasn't there?
Tony Allen. I don't know, man. Just like I said, I'm just kind of scrolling.
Alex
through
Trebek.
This. Oh, that's right. Yep, Alex Trebek.
That's who it was. Because I was making the joke about Connery wanting to play Jeopardy up in in the afterlife.
Little Richard died this year. Fred Willard, comedic actor Fred Willard. Jerry Stiller, Ben Stiller's father. Jerry Stiller. Roy Horn from Siegfried and Roy. Look, it's kind of going through them by the month. Joel Schumacher.
Yeah.
Bonnie Pointer of the Pointer Sisters.
Yeah, we got Sean Connery CD.
Sir Ian Holm. He passed away.
Yeah.
You know, Bilbo. Olivia de Havilland. Oh, that's right. Kelly Preston, the wife of
that's right.
of John Travolta. Naya Rivera, who was on Glee. That was very tragic. She was only like 33. Broadway actor Nick Cordero. He died as a result of complications from coronavirus. He was one of the first kind of celebrities to die from that. Yeah, of course, Chadwick Boseman, which is also another tragic kind of thing. Diana Rigg. Hey, Sylvester Stallone's mom died. Jackie Stallone. She kind of became a star upon, on her own right. So yeah, we lost a lot of. There's Sean Connery coming up. Oh, Eddie Van Halen. Fuck.
Oh yeah.
He was the one that was right around the same time as Connery.
He was just a few weeks ago.
Yeah. Conchata Farrell, who she was like the housekeeper lady on 2.5 Men.
Oh,
she passed away. She'd been working for a long, long time too. November. Oh, David Prowse.
Oh yeah.
And Jeremy Bulloch. So we lost two more big deal Star Wars Star Wars alumni. So yeah, we've lost. I mean, it wasn't probably quite. I mean, there were some epic ones in there. There definitely was. So 2020, once again, let's round it up, man.
To those we lost.
To those we lost.
To those we didn't.
And to those we didn't. Yes.
And to brighter futures.
Absolutely. To brighter futures. Thank you. Thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for another year, guys. We launched this video portion of the podcast this year.
That's right, we did. How about that, huh?
Yeah. I actually became a grandfather this year. So I mean,
forgot about that, old man. That's right.
Yep. There's been some good things that have come out of the year, but
it's still, I'm just glad that we're about done,
Yep.
And I am going to. I had something running on my phone here. I gotta get out of that. Yeah, it's. I'm just glad that it's over, and just about over. And I'm just really trying to look on the bright side, on the positive side. Hopefully, there'll be a return to the festival season and entertainment. Hopefully that we'll see at least some return to that kind of thing. Hopefully the parade will go off this year in 21 instead of being kind of canceled again.
So this is the first year since I've moved back to Michigan that I haven't done a New Year's Eve party.
Yeah, Stella and I are probably planning on just getting drunk.
Yeah, we got invited over to a friend's house, but we're not sure if we're going or not yet. It'll be a small group of our close friends that we've had some contact with throughout the pandemic, but not a lot. So it's one of those things where it will be the most people in a house that we've been around. So I don't know if we're up for that or not. So
right.
We may just be sitting here getting drunk. So.
But yeah, so thanks to everybody.
We should do a Zoom thing and just watch like some bad movie on both TVs and just.
We can do. There are those, like.
Oh, the share.
We watch a movie and stuff like that. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, thanks CD, thanks to Dawn, thanks to the guests we've had this year, Sean Nicolin.
Thanks to Renee for all her support here.
Renee for all of her support, and Bruce and You know,
Yep.
everybody that's also supporting Tavern Nights.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. We launched Tavern Nights this year too.
We did,
the
yeah.
video show, which has gotten some good feedback.
Yeah.
And we're getting some good views.
Yeah.
It's only 9. We're only 9 episodes in.
Yeah.
So
we'll be having another show, not this Friday, which would have been normal, but because this Friday is New Year's Day, we're gonna have what was that?
That was Renee yelling at Belmont.
Yeah. Oh, okay. We will be having our next Tavern Night show will be the following Friday on, I believe. So
Yeah.
tune in.
January 8th, 2021.
Absolutely. 2021. 2020 is now definitely in our rear view. It's no longer hindsight now.
3 weeks. 3 weeks and we get and Biden's sworn in. So
yeah, exactly. Guys, check us out on all the places you can find quality podcasting. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on iTunes, the Google Play Store, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, radio.com. And of course, you can download and stream all of our episodes from our website at www.nerdswithalcoholshow.com. We are on, of course, on Twitch every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock on Drinking Nerds, as well as we put the shows up on YouTube under the same name, or the channel is the same name. Check us out on every other Friday too on Tavern Nights on Friday nights at 7.
You can follow us on most of the social medias. We are on Facebook, Nerds with Alcohol Show, Twitter, Drinking Nerds, Instagram, Drinking Nerds, and you can, if you want to look us up on Untapped, the beer drinking app. It is we are on there as Drinking Nerds. Just send us a friend request and we'll get you added on.
Absolutely. Chris, Happy New Year, brother.
Happy New Year, man.
Yeah.
It's been a great year. For this show. I mean, for us, doing the show, having to do it remotely has kind of sucked. And I look forward to actually being in the same room with you again, actually being in the nerd basement, although it's fucking cold as hell down there right now.
Yeah, and I gotta admit, there is a certain beauty to the convenience of doing it mobily like
and I actually kind of like this, and maybe we'll keep doing it. But I mean, I do. Maybe we'll do a show once in a while in the basement itself. But
yeah,
I mean, I've got everything set up here in the office now, so it's one of those where it's like, well, do I want to pull all that stuff out and get everything set up down there again? I
think this might become the future of this type of podcasting.
Well, and it works because we're doing this thing, and we've got a good system that works. I think it's feasible. So
yeah, so maybe like once a month we'll do one in the studio or something.
Yeah, we'll see what we want to work out.
Yeah,
we got some time because I mean we're still at least 3 months away from anything even starting to change. So
truth. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think on that note. Until next time. Slainte.
That
was a good one.
That's good. Yeah.
Good way to take us out of the year. All right. Have a good New Year, everybody. Thanks again for listening this year.
Good night.